Welcome to another episode of Victoria's Lounge from the Radisson Blu Hotel. Now, fathers the world over are going to be celebrated in just a few days on Father's Day. So today on Victoria's Lounge, we wanted to highlight the beautiful, delicate, and very crucial relationship between fathers and their daughters. So our dads are in the lounge, ready to share their stories. Let's meet them now. Nikki is a film producer, director, and distributor, as well as MC. He is married with 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, who he says have brought him great joy. Steve Kiteto serves as the executive officer at Tanari Trust and is deeply passionate about cultural transformation. He's married to Liz Njeri, and together they've been blessed with 3 children. Isaac Okero is a political scientist and a democratic governance expert. He works in the areas of legal, political, and institutional reforms. He's married to Lydia Nganga, and they have 3 beautiful daughters. Hashtag Victoria's Lounge is how you can chime in to the conversation on social media. It's so funny, before we started, the dads were like, why aren't we on a nice, comfortable seat? This is not Victoria's Lounge, but we wanted to be a bit creative, have it a bit more engaging. But thanks so much for coming in. Stephen, let me start with you. How did fatherhood change you? Was it anything like what you expected? Or was it full of surprises?
I think we had a good dad to start with, and so that was a good, I think, reference point to rely upon.
Right.
And so I think fatherhood came, it was exciting. Before that, I think I had interacted with our little sister who, was born when she was much older.
Yeah.
And then also had a niece. So I think it wasn't as new, but exciting all the same, because it's an experience that we'd never had with my wife before.
Right. So having that good example at least gave you someone to draw from in terms of
Yes, absolutely.
Tips and everything. How about you, Nikki?
We were an all-boys family, so
Wow.
I have 2 brothers, and my mom was iron fist, bringing us up well. But my dad taught me, when I turned 18, he took me on a retreat, and he taught me how to treat women and girls, and And one thing I really appreciate about being a father, the first girl I have 2 girls.
Yeah.
When I got my first baby girl, I held her in my arms for the first time, and I got a epiphany, and I watched myself walking her down the aisle.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, this is going too fast. So it's like how life just, and I realized that a very short time in which to be of influence in this girl's life before I pass her on to her husband. So it's been quite a journey. It's been quite a journey, because she's almost there. Almost time to give her away.
Yeah, 21, she's a full-grown adult, And that's the thing, okay, I don't know, in your case, were you apprehensive thinking, oh my goodness, when your first girl came on? And people think like when it comes to girls, it's so much responsibility.
No, I was quite excited. They are twins actually, 14 now.
Wow.
When I saw them, they were beautiful. God's creation. Amazingly beautiful. I was like, wow, God, this is special.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been since then. They're just special people to me.
They're in that teenage stage, which some parents really fear. They wonder, which child is this? Are you kind of going
No, I'm
through?
the most loved person for now.
For now.
It's true, by the way.
That's a good point.
Most loved man for now, I'm adored by the teenage, everybody competing for attention for you. Adorable people. Yeah, so I was saying I need to now begin to think about buying those big dogs.
Yeah. Dogs
all
help,
these
huh?
men that want to come and take away that attention that I'm currently enjoying.
Right. And you become so much more protective when it comes to girls. I don't know if, Steve, that is your case.
Oh yeah, I think I have thought I should become a Rottweiler, German Shepherd, and a G3 gun all over.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
You're actually naturally very protective. Just watching over them wherever they are in the compound, and you see some little boys peeping through the gate, and you're wondering, who are those? Who are you speaking to?
Right.
I think it's a natural sort of protective.
Yeah,
it does happen.
Yeah.
For me, I really wanted them to learn how to relate with both boys and girls. So we've always exposed them to friends who are both male and female, and you know, and we've taught them well. I think that's the one thing. With my wife is quite a disciplinarian, so they've taught the girls what the girls need to be. She has taught the girls what the girls need to know, and I just show them a lot of love and tell them, you know, at the end of the day, you don't really have to make decisions yourself.
Right.
So we equip them to make decisions. And I remember there was one place they went for this hat run or something, and when we got back, that time she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
She told me, these boys were talking to me, and I told them, watch out, I'm a Nyeri woman.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
At 13 years old,
Wow.
so yeah, so they know how to take care of themselves.
To have that kind of frame of mind at that age, I would
Yeah.
love to meet them. Speaking of which, we actually got to speak to Nikki's daughters. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Tendaisha Nikki.
Hi, my name is Tolani Waniki.
I am a very quiet person.
I guess I'm an extrovert, so like I take up after that.
He's always wanting to know what's going on in your life. Like, okay, when I used to be in school, he used to drop me every single morning, and in the car we would have just, you know, heart-to-heart talks about how is your life, how is school, what do you plan to do later on, where would you like to travel. So like he wants to know what you want and your dreams, so he can help you with them and he can help you achieve everything that you want. His presence is very, you can't ignore it in a way. It's just there, and it's there by force. Every time he comes home, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you have to stop and just sit down and listen to what he says, because he'll tell you about his day, about who he's met, about what he's going to do tomorrow. I'd agree with her about him coming home, and you literally have to stop whatever you're doing because he will be louder than whatever it is. I think that really helps us and impacts us, because now we learn how to also be open and share the things that are going on in our lives. I can call him whenever, whatever time, it doesn't matter what he's doing, he's going to stop it and he's going to attend to us guys. He does cook. He might get carried away a bit
when he's
sometimes.
baking.
Not
Wow.
only baking, like he'd probably be making like steak, and he'd want to put in all the spices he knows
follow
about
instructions.
sometimes. But he does a good job. He does a good job.
To Dad, we would want to say thank you for supporting us and for being there for us and being present in our lives the way he is, and for sharing his situations with us and helping us learn from his mistakes. And yeah, we just thank you for being there, for loving us and for supporting us every single day of our lives.
You are a huge pillar in our lives, and you just, if you weren't there, then I think our characters wouldn't be as confident and as strong as they are, because it changes. It's very important to have a father in your life, and he's been there from day one. We can never complain and say that for even 1 second that he's not been there. So we just, Dad, thank you for always being there and for making us feel protected and heard, and also bringing us up the way you brought us, knowing God and everything, because it's made us who we are today.
Amazing. And just to see how you raise them to have minds of their own. It's so important, especially in a society where a lot of times women are made to feel like you are a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you instill that kind of principles
It's
into
a
your
debate
daughters?
we are still having, because I'm telling my daughters they are not second-class citizens. It's very hard to be to raise girl child in Kenya. It's very hard to be a woman in our society today. But I tell my daughters, you know what, you are created beautiful by the same God who created the boy child, and they should not accept to be second-class citizens. They need to assert themselves. They are loved. They are equal citizens in this country, And what I don't like, Victoria, is the way our country, our culture, our society want to make the girl child to be second-class citizen. And I don't like the fact that sometimes girls have been told, oh, you need to join this choir to entertain the guests or the boys. It's wrong. So I tell them, make a decision that you want to make as equal citizen in this country.
What's that about the choir? I don't understand.
You know, they are now currently doing something in school. And the girls are the ones who are in this choir, the boys are not in it. I'm like,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
They're not encouraged to join sports or, you know.
I mean, join because you want, but not because you are there to entertain guests.
That is so interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by default, because you're a girl.
Yeah, and I'm also, because I'm a political scientist, I'm very concerned about this. When you watch all our political clips, it is the women who are always dancing for men. Like, what's wrong? Why do we create a society in 2017 where women are the ones who should be dancing, entertaining male political people? No, we shouldn't accept that.
Steve, what do you make of that? Because you have still very young girls, and they're at the age where you're still molding them. They're like sponges, literally. They'll see different views of women in the media. How do you counter that at home?
I think, as you say, they're very impressionable at this point. And they are sponges, actually. Just having conversations with them. My wife does a lot of just instructing them. When I meet them, when we get to talk about issues, thankfully, they're very perceptive. My firstborn, she's 7. Very reasonable. She sits and you actually engage. And I know at this age I'm supposed to give them like their identity and give them a very strong sense of belonging. So the sense in which I tell them, no, Kiteto girls don't do this, and so they seem to light up every time I tell them, my daughters. When I say my daughters, something about them just lights up. And so I think for me the big thing is giving them a sense of identity when they face the world. They actually are confident. We get people telling us, oh, your daughters are very confident, they can hold a conversation, they're young, and yes, they're still so young. And so I think it's a process, a continuing journey, continuing process.
That's amazing. I really like that. Kiteto girls, that sense of identity. I think a lot of girls, as they become women, sometimes may not have that if they didn't have the father in their lives. So the presence of a father is so important. The conversation continues right here on Victoria's Lounge. Stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. Just before we went to break, Steve was talking about the strong identity he was instilling in his daughters. And Nikki, you actually have a son.
Yes.
And we're talking about how society at times, we're talking about the girls being a second-class citizen. Then there was this whole girl empowerment movement. Now the girls became too strong. Your son is smack dab in the middle of 2 girls.
It's a lot of work, actually.
How do you balance it?
Yeah, it's okay. He has to be a gentleman and take care of his sisters. But then he also has to be the new man, you know. And that's actually been a lot of hard work on my part. And I think the teenage life, I don't know about your experiences, but the teenage period, the girls really blossom and they take charge and they have ideas and they're go-getters. And, you know, the guys are a bit more laid back and you're thinking, hey, what's happening here?
Wake up.
Right.
So I'm hoping, you know, Steve does a lot of work with the teenage and even beyond that. I hope that the boys wake up at some point.
They do. They do. With with good amount of affirmation and calling the man out, so to say.
Calling the man out.
Right. So you have to be a bit more intentional.
So when we empower the girls, we must not forget the boy, because at the end of the day, their roles, everybody has, it's like two legs, two feet. So you need each to support the other.
But you focus on the boys as we focus on the girls. But I've got 2 girls. The boys need to.
We have a stake in your work. Raising a boy.
For being too strong, perhaps.
Being too strong. So the daddies of boys need to do their bit.
That's
we are doing a bit with the girls.
That's true.
Making them to assert themselves, self-respect, everything.
And how do you find that balance, Okore? Because you're trying to get them to be strong and to be strong counterparts to their male, colleagues. But at times they're like, oh, you're too assertive, you're too strong. Kind of play the back role. How do you kind of get them to find that balance of seeing themselves as equals and partners with the boys?
I think for me, we still the terrain is still tilted. So for me, I just tell them to assert themselves, respect the boy child, respect themselves, work together. They have a cousin who's a boy, so they try to play around and try to work at themselves at the same level. But the point is self-respect, respect the other boy, and also to pull together. You know, the Okeros we pull together.
I mean, and Steve, you do a lot of training when it comes to parenting. How important is the relationship between father and daughter? Why is it such a crucial relationship?
the father and daughter relationship is so crucial in giving sort of the girl like a voice of purpose, so to say, guiding them through. It is so interesting that at the point when they are transitioning, especially when they're in their preteen into puberty, the male voice in their lives is even more crucial than the mother, who naturally has a bond from day one. So when the dad comes in and actually just affirms who she is, she actually blossoms. The kind of programs we run, we find for the boys, the dad will come and it's okay. They don't need to hang out with the mom, they've been bonded so long, all these years.
Right.
But for the girls, dad has to show up and just come and affirm and say, you know, you're my daughter. And naturally they soak that in and you know, they actually blossom better. A lot of the issues that you see in teenage and into young adulthood is because of that lack of affirmation. From the father or a male figure. It doesn't, if the father is not there, it could be a grandfather, an uncle, and we encourage even single mothers to actually bring along somebody who can be a reasonable voice for the daughter. So it's extremely, yes, it's absolutely crucial in their psychological development in terms of getting the
That's
identity.
very interesting. I've noticed that when you engage with the girls, especially at that particular age, it's like they blossom. They realize who they are. You remember you talked about the Kitato girls?
Yes.
They realize,
They always like
wow.
this
This is who I am.
because their dad is the first person who's going to date them, is the first person who's going
So
to treat a woman how a woman should be treated, you know.
Right.
And I think that bond, if it's strong, makes a very balanced person.
And speaking of affirmation, let's see Steve and his daughters in action. Take a look at this.
I like that you always have time for me. I said food. Yeah, when we're going home, we eat. Yum. My name is Sarah Wanjala, and I am 7 years old. My name is Harry, and I'm 5 years old. I love that he takes care of me and keeps me safe. I love that he is funny and always has time for me. The most important thing that he has taught me is that being brave. Like the first time I saw a dog and my dad started calling me down, and I felt like when you don't bother the dog, it does not bother you. The most important thing that my dad has taught me is that to talk to people nicely, don't shout at them, and talk softly. I've become too tall. One special thing that I do with my dad is we go anywhere we want to go and eat food, and I really enjoy that. One special thing that me and my dad like is that we do acrobatics and I feel stronger. Daddy! The message I'll give him is that I love him because he is gentle and kind. He takes me places that I like and I love him. Let's go!
Amazing. And just, Nikki, actually I wanted to get back to the whole thing of you dating your daughters first. The boy conversation, dating, it's going to come up. Every father's worst nightmare. I know.
Yes.
Exactly.
So how do you navigate that minefield, if you will?
The best thing to do is to prepare them early.
Okay.
So that before all that comes along, they know they know their parameters.
Yes.
They know who they are, and they know what kind of behavior is expected of them. So if a boy comes along, first of all, he better come into the house and introduce himself and that kind of thing.
Make your intentions known.
That boy will that dog be asleep?
No, actually, we actually got a dog for that particular purpose, to protect my daughters. No, actually, it makes somebody think, do I really want to meet the father?
Exactly.
And I remember when my first daughter was starting to see boys and have boys in her life. She doesn't have a boyfriend yet, so I hope, I don't know. I know she doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
Well, let me not say I know she does. I know she's been seeing someone. But anyway, so I told them, you must bring everybody in, and it's not one person, it's to come as a group. I'd ask them who they are, their fathers, their parents, who are they, you know, how do you know my daughter, where are you going, what are you going to do? In fact, there's even a time they actually borrowed my car and said, can we borrow the car?
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So they went out as a group to the national park, and you know, they've done several things. I think that sets the standard, you know, or sets the scene. So they know it's not just Mombi we're dealing with. We're dealing with Mombi's dad.
Yes.
So, and they know. But I told them you need to be back here by, I think it was 8:30. They came at 9. They all got out of the car and came and said, sorry, we're late.
Wow. Wow. So kind of asserting that presence of, I'm here.
Yes.
You have my trust.
Yes.
But understand I'm still watching.
And the respect, you must have respect.
Yeah. I'm curious, Okore, what kind of man would you want your daughters to marry?
Yeah,
that's important.
A man that I can get along with, and also a man who respects. And I think in addition to what Margery have talked about, I've taught my daughters to say no. That no is a very empowering answer. It's not negative, but it's empowering. And also because they are growing, I've told them, you know, you're special. And for me, like they are diamond, I tell them, diamond, for you to get a diamond, a good quality one, you need to dig very, very deep in the ground. Let this man dig so deep to identify that diamond that you truly are. But, you know, just to ensure that they are special, they respect the boundaries. But also for me, really just a man who fears God, who is assertive, self-confident, going places, and who's better than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so and that there's a challenge there.
There's some big shoes. There's a huge challenge right there.
Wow.
That he's better. That is quite a high bar that you've set there, Okore. I fear the guy who even dares come close to that. All right, on that note, let's take a short break on Victoria's Lounge. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. The dads are still here. We're talking about technology and how it's really complicating parenting, because the kids are now being exposed to so much so early. And you can't really control what they see when they see, because you're not there all the time. But how would you advise parents in this day and age to kind of get a clamp on, but then not feel like you're literally imprisoning your children? You know?
So I think I use the principle of when your child is on screens, let me call them screens, whatever the screen is, are they a passive consumer or are they an active or creative producer? So if you're doing passive consumption, what it means is you're seated there enjoying this cartoon or whatever, somebody else's production, and you're consuming. Over the years, what it's training the mind of that child is, I'm here to consume. So the next movie, the next word, and generally in life, you're a consumer. But if you're looking at a screen and thinking, how can I take this skill, assuming it's skating, or playing a drum, or something, or cooking,
throwing a javelin.
and then take that and take it to the real world and actually produce it, sort of apply. So parents need to not fear technology, but to actually allow them to come into the screens, check something that is of interest, which means the parents has identified what the interests are, and then take them to production. So that's where you grow in life skills, that's where you grow in your mind. But if they're just consuming, they consume all kinds of things, and you actually can live in the same house. I've talked to moms who have a 16-year-old, ask them, when did you buy your daughter an iPad? Oh, when they were 8, now I'm afraid they're watching all kinds of series. So what series, do you know the name? I actually don't know. I don't know what they're watching.
Oh, no.
So for 8 years, this kid is in a virtual world which you have no idea about. Wow. And so you have to be very, very present to just know what are they applying. Production versus consumption.
And that world has such a heavy bearing on who they become, because they spend so much time there and not with you.
Absolutely.
So it's so important. And speaking of which, Nikki, you have girls who are at an age where you have to kind of earn their respect because they're adults, they know a lot and have experienced a lot, but still you have to kind of keep that relationship going.
The best way to do that is actually to give them a standard by which they can measure what they are consuming, because you can't be there for them. Or, I mean, she's 21. I can't tell her what. So you have to have a standard. So we do have a family altar on Thursdays where we come together and we talk about it's like a homing, a base coming back home. these are the principles by which we live. These are the statutes by which God expects us to live.
Right.
And by the way, it's very important to introduce children to God very early in life. It makes life so much easier. It's absolutely having a being that is above all of us, and that they can be accountable to. And so it helps for them to be able to have a place where they know, hey, this is my standard. If something I'm consuming is deviating from that standard, maybe I need to bring it up in the next family meeting. What do you think about this thing? So it's like
decision making.
They have to have. They have to be able to make their own decisions, because you cannot police them all the time.
True.
You have to be able to do that. However, we are very happy when we have some guys like Ezekiel hanging over our heads and telling us, no, that should not be. That's so solid. As parents, doesn't mean we should not do our parenting, but it does have. It's good to have parameters where you know this is not acceptable for children. This is
No, absolutely.
I wanted to weigh in on technology, because I think it's important, and what we basically do us is we watch their YouTube as a family. If you want something you need to watch, everybody must watch it before they will be there on their iPads and laptops. Each person watching our own things, so we say no, that's not right, because we can't see what you're watching. Tell us what you need to watch. We are all watching. Weekdays, no social media. Social media is very restricted. No WhatsApp. They can do that over weekends, but we sort of are aware of what they're doing. And like Margaria said, standards. Set the standards that they need to live within. So you don't have to police them anymore. They just know, as Okeros, as the Margarias, as Kiretos, we don't do such. We don't cross those boundaries. And that's what my daughters, they say, some of my friends are looking at this, that as we said, no, we are not going to do that. Because they already know the standards. And that makes it a lot easier to develop trust relationship that is confident.
And we actually checked in with your daughters to see what they actually make of these standards and boundaries. Let's hear what they had to say.
My name is Werimo Okero, and I like being with my friends, getting to know people better.
My name is Akinyi Okero. I like reading, writing. I also like playing music.
My name is Makena Okero.
What I like most about my relationship with my dad is that we share what our experiences and what we go through, both of us. Funny things like jokes, and we tell each other things that will encourage each other.
I like that he helps us at our times of need, and he loves us anytime, and he remembers us anytime he travels.
We're always encouraging each other. I'm always being encouraged to push on and to do the best that I can. We're always laughing.
I like that he has a generous heart and he likes giving. That's what I admire the most.
For me, I think it is openness and honesty, so that you can always do better. Also, he's very encouraging.
My favorite activity with my dad is actually, I guess, shopping with him. He's a nice person to shop with, actually.
For me, it's like on holidays, just having fun, taking pictures. That's what I enjoy.
When we watch movies as a family.
My dad has taught me that it's important to love everyone and work hard.
To love one another, and also not to go on social media.
I've been taught to be honest, to be kind, to be loving and generous. Also in work, do the best, and then trust in God, and the rest will happen.
The boundaries he has set for us is not allowing us to be on any random social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Twitter, and many others. The reasons are that he wants to prevent us from bad influences and for security purposes, and also that we don't get hooked onto the social media, and so that also we learn to make relationships like face to face.
Like when we're watching things like as a family, we watch things on the TV. We don't watch separately in like on the laptop or on our phones, and then it encourages us to be like more united, doing one thing all together, so that not everyone is alone watching their own things. Yeah, so that's one of the boundaries. Thank you, Dad, for everything. Thank you for teaching me all the morals I have, all the values I have. I don't take that for granted. They've been helping me so much in school and generally just in life. God bless you, and I love you.
I love him very much, and he's the best father that I've ever had.
I love you, Dad, and you're the best dad I have ever had. And I pray and hope that you live long. I want you to see the good that you've done to me and how I'll grow up and make you proud.
All right, wow, amazing. You have some good girls. You do. And Steve, let me come to you on this, because it's extremely important when raising girls or boys, but being transparent and truthful. As a parent, it's tough because you're the authority figure, but they need to say, okay, mom and dad are still human beings. So how do you kind of create that atmosphere?
I think what we have done is to set the standard. When Nikki talked about standards, truth is very big as a value in our family, truth. And so there are times that they actually catch us. For example, the other day, we always tell them, make a bed before you step out into the sitting room. I said, like, we've peeped into your room and your bed is not made. You know? I was like, yeah, I think we forgot. And just like admitting that, we actually forgot, you know, and they always, you know, sort of tease us, and they're like, no, I think we're going to punish you for this, you know, just teasing. But I think admitting that, you know, you know, I shouldn't have done that. I taught them red, you stop, green, you take off. So there's a day I was like, you know, yellow looked like it should be green, and so I just zoomed past. That was red. You're right. And it's nice now as a family we're like keeping each other accountable, but they can tell, but they're so trusting. That's the beauty. When they're young, they're very trusting, and so just keeping ahead and making sure that whatever they're looking at, you're a powerful model in everything. In fact, that's what you feel on your shoulders, that every time it's like you're being watched. Whatever you're doing is going to translate into what they soak in. And so you're always aware of, wow, okay, I need to set a high bar, you know, like the Okeros, very high bar.
So truth-telling, I like that standard, the truth-telling. Because in my case, with the critical word is I love you and I'm very sorry, please forgive me. So you must always apologize when you do something wrong. And I realize one of the things I'm always in is I'm always on diet. The other day, my daughter Kim asked me, so Dad, what did you eat today?
Yes.
Are you still on diet? First of all, I have to admit, it's truth-telling. Yes, sweetheart, I'm always on diet. I always call them sweetheart. I'm always on that, but I did break that rule. And she says, okay. So she looks at me and says, what are you going to eat? I said, since I broke the rule at lunchtime, let me just do water. We don't have a fruit. I'll probably do a glass of water. I like water, and maybe some green. Says, okay, I'm watching you, Dad. I'm watching you, Dad. But just accountability.
Absolutely.
And you know, when you make mistake, and we do, especially for me, who's always on diet, come back and say, girls, Mom, I'm very sorry. I'm still on diet, and it's gonna work.
And Nikki, as we wrap up, let me close with you. Advice you give to other dads raising daughters, they're thinking, my goodness, where do I start?
The good thing about girls is like they like communicating. I would say a little more than boys. So open up channels of communication. We have a family WhatsApp group. We always post different. Yeah, we do.
Oh,
I post inspirational stuff on there. Mom does. When they find something funny, my son is always putting football stuff. He's a football guy, so we're Chelsea guys. So he's always posting football stuff. But that really helps communication, and you find it's the girls actually who appreciate that, and we can discuss that on our Thursday ultimate. The other thing, as you said, being true and being available.
Right,
sometimes you don't know what to do, but when you're available, the opportunity presents itself for you to teach something or to learn something. My kids have seen me fail. They've seen when I'm down, and they know, and all of them say, we're in trouble now. We need, Dad does not pay school fees. We need to figure out, And the older one is already in business. She's helping bring in income to the family. Well, not income yet, but but so they've. It's opportunity. It's just learn to open up. And I must say I was very lucky. I had some very good examples. First of all, my parents were absolutely incredible. My dad's a really strong father figure. My mom's a great prayer. And then surrounding ourselves with people like the Rubadiris. Your dad is really an incredible man and mom. So when there are people like those who you can look up to or you can ask questions about. And someone like Steve, by the way, is a wealth of experience.
Great resource,
Yes. You put his number over here.
I'm telling you, get in touch with this guy. Great.
So it's important, and read and live. Live.
Wonderful.
Live together with the children.
Yeah, wonderful advice. Thank you so much to my dads who joined this conversation. Just getting it started and encouraging others out there with girls. You can make it.
You can.
It's not the end.
Yeah.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day too.
Thank you.
Enjoy Sunday.
Thank you.
And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there who are watching. I want to have a special happy Father's Day to someone who is the most selfless and humble human being I know, my dad. And he has really shown me the importance of keeping God first, the value of being other-centered, and also being diligent in all that you do. So Dad, thank you so much. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Thanks for watching Victoria's Lounge. Thank you to the Radisson Blu Hotel for hosting us. Thank you for watching, and let's do this again next week. Good night.
The man.
Daddy. 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Hi. Oh, we're starting with hi again.
Yeah, so that now it go. And we are
Thank you.